I noticed that there wasn't any mention of how much foreign direct investment has been felt by organized private sector, because very recently the coordinating minister of the economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, said that about $20 billion in foreign direct investment has actually come into Nigeria in the last 3 years, but that wasn't mentioned at all in the report.
Well, it wasn't mentioned because the report itself is not exhaustive. There are so many issues. But again, we should be cautious the way we celebrate foreign direct investment, because foreign direct investment will have value for the economy if it's bringing jobs. Not just factory workers, quality jobs. Because there are jobs and there are jobs. It will add value if it has linkages with the rest of the economy. You have an FDI or a foreign investor now that is taking something from my brother here as an input. He will benefit, the foreign investor will benefit. So the linkages that the investment is bringing is very important.
So was it felt?
So we should not be celebrating numbers.
So it was that. So in other words, looking at it now, even though it wasn't really contained in the report, like I'm talking about, was it actually felt at all?
Of course. This is felt. At least you look around physically. I mean, you see some, investments here and there. You see quite a number of foreign faces doing good business.
Structures being built.
But what value are your indigenes getting? That is the issue. Because you cannot have an economy that is growing, is doing this, and majority of the citizens are spectators in that economy. That is the challenge that we are having now. So there has to be a framework. It is good to attract foreign investment because this is a big market anyway. This is the biggest market in the African continent. They will always come. But there has to be a framework to make sure that we capture value from the investment.
Okay, LCCI also reviewed the Global Competitiveness Report. What's the group position on it?
Well, the Global Competitiveness ranking, there was a slight improvement in the ranking from 127 last year to 115. And the ranking, focuses on the key business environment variables. So that's a slight improvement. But again, we are talking of a survey that covered 144 countries. If you are now ranking 115, it's still not a good performance.
But there was even a recent report from the World Economic Forum that said Nigeria had moved from that 115 to 120 out of 148 countries that were actually surveyed. Okay.
So you can see that even the performance there is nothing to celebrate. So the issue here is that, because if you look at the reports, some of the positives that were recorded in the report has to do with the fact that we have a large market. Of course, if you have a large population, you are likely to have a large market. So, I mean, you cannot give credit. If anything, we give credit to our parents who have been giving birth, to build the population. Then there is also the positives that, you have very good macroeconomic fundamentals, and there is also something about business sophistication. But there is a longer list of negatives. Infrastructure, security, literacy level, ICT penetration, all sorts of things.
Finance as well.
So
there should definitely be a bright side to all of this. I mean, because we can't always keep looking at the negatives and forget about the positive. Even if it's just a couple of them, there must be a bright side to how the economy has fared in the last quarter.
It's not a hopeless situation.
No, not at all.
Nigeria is not a hopeless situation. There's a lot of opportunities. The economy is going by the GDP numbers. The market is large. The natural resources are there. We have oil. We have other solid minerals. We have very rich agricultural land. We have a very enterprising population. We have very, useful population.
It's just to know how to tap into it.
It is harnessing this things. You need the right kind of shepherd to direct things. That is what is missing. Otherwise, the resources to make things happen are here. It's a question of getting the right kind of priority, the right kind of discipline, the right kind of institutions to translate these things. That is what is missing. And I'm sure before long, we'll get there.
Okay. Well, just before I let you go, gentlemen, on Monday, the Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN will be holding its meeting on Monday and Tuesday, actually, and by Tuesday we should be getting their resolutions. What are your thoughts? Are you expecting a change in the key rates, especially since we see that inflation rate, which and some other variables in the market have actually improved slightly from the last time that they had their meeting to now? Do you think there's going to be any change in the rates?
Personally, on the issue of interest rates, I have given up on the CBN. But the CBN is not so committed to issue of rates. The CBN is more committed to exchange rates, and the CBN governor has said it, that is going to use both interest rates and reserves to protect the naira, which is not bad, but also has a downside. So I'm not expecting anything so dramatic. The only thing I will crave for is that the CRR on public sector deposit that is at 50%, the CBN should please reduce it to 25%. Because the pressure on the banking system is enormous. We don't want to go through another round of banking distress. So a lot of them are under pressure. Because you have an economy that is structured in a way that the bulk of the resources is in the public sector. So if you now come up with a policy that is now shutting out 50% of these funds from the economy and from the banking system, it could lead to a lot of problems. And for the CBN to even salvage the banking system through the reform, through the intervention, through AMCON, we knew how much it costs the economy. So to avoid that another round of distress, I think the CBN should revisit that component of policy. But concerning the MPR and all of these things, I have given up on the issue of interest rates.
Okay, Mr. Duru, your final words. What are you expecting from the economy here on? What are you expecting should be happening in the economy from here on?
Oh, I would not say I've given up on interest rates, because we still continue talking on interest rates until something is done. Because as long as the interest rate is what it is, there's very little manufacturing sector can do. There's no way we can compete with the in the international market unless the interest rate is very good today, because we in Nigeria, using raw agri produce, we need to buy, we need to store, and you know how much interest we pay on the storage. These are the area where the CBN should look at the interest rate. How can they bring it down for the manufacturing, especially those in the agro-allied sector? Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Duru Kuteyi, the National Vice President of Association of Small-Scale Industrialists, and Muda Yusuf, the Director General of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you so much for joining me on the program today.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Well, I've been speaking with these two gentlemen, Muda Yusuf, who's the Director General of LCCI, and Duru Kuteyi, the National Vice President of Association of Small-Scale Industrialists. And we've been reviewing the third quarter of the year, the economy that is, which the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry recently did. And well, they're all optimistic that things could improve from here on, especially if the right policies are actually put in place. But that's the show for today. But just so you know, next week starts on a busy note as the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria holds its 6th meeting for the year on Monday, November the 18th, and Tuesday the 19th. And also on the 19th, which happens to be Tuesday as well, the President is expected to make a formal presentation of the 2014 budget to a joint session of the National Assembly. Don't forget, you can track these developments in real time. Just log on to our website, channelstv.com. But that's the show for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Harriet.